There was once a young monk living in a small monastery at the edge of a forest of sal trees and banyans. Every morning he woke up very early, when the sky was still full of stars, and sat in silence before an oil lamp. He closed his eyes, prayed, breathed deeply, and repeated the sacred names his masters had taught him. Hours passed in meditation, but nothing happened in his heart. He was waiting for a vision, a voice, a divine sign to confirm his faith, but only silence answered him. Day after day, year after year, his prayers seemed to vanish like echoes in an empty cave. He wondered if he was not pure enough, if he did not fast enough, if God truly existed, or if it was only an illusion created by humans. Inside him grew the thirst for an answer. So one morning he decided to leave the monastery. He took his bowl, a staff, and his cloak, bid farewell to his companions, and set out, convinced that God awaited him somewhere far away. He walked for long days through dusty villages. In the markets he smelled the scents of spices, saw men and women kneeling before small altars painted red and gold. He entered immense temples where 1,000 lamps shone and bells rang in the wind. He knelt, offered flowers, burned incense, but his heart remained cold. Days passed in prostration before sculpted statues, but nothing happened. No voice, no light, only his breath, only his thoughts. Disappointed, he ventured into the forest. He lived among the trees, eating roots and fruits. He tried to remain still, like the stones, convinced that the silence of nature would reveal God to him. But even there he only heard birdsong, rustling leaves, the murmuring of water. Everything was beautiful, yet no mysterious presence spoke to him. One day he met an old hermit covered only in ash and tattered cloth. The man said, "If you truly want to see God, fast for 40 days and nights. Stay away from the world, listen to no one, and in the end, He will come to you." The monk obeyed. He fasted, remained isolated, reducing his body to a shadow. But when he opened his eyes at the end of the fast, he saw only empty sky. He resumed walking, reaching high mountains. He climbed among eternal snows and winds that howled like invisible spirits. He stayed in a cave, meditating for weeks, barely breathing, motionless like a statue. In dreams he saw lights and shapes, but upon waking, nothing remained. Once again, God did not appear. He descended into deserts of burning sand. There he cried to the sky, "If you exist, show me a sign. Give me even a spark of your presence." But only the wind responded, lifting grains of sand that stung his face. Then he came to a vast city. The streets were full of merchants shouting, children running, beggars stretching out their hands. The monk stopped, observing the noisy crowd. He saw men fighting over coins, women burdened with heavy loads, old men alone in shadowed alleys. He felt pity and helped a blind man cross the street. The man held his hand and smiled with gratitude. For a moment, warmth filled the monk's heart, but he immediately pushed it away. This cannot be God. I am searching for something greater, something extraordinary, sacred, beyond the world. And so he continued. Years of pilgrimages, fasting, solitude. He saw kings and beggars, visited distant lands, listened to 1,000 masters. All told him different things. God is in renunciation. God is in the wealth of the temple. God is in a special chant. God is in a mystical vision. He tried everything, but his heart remained barren. Time passed. His hair was now sprinkled with white. his hands marked with calluses and travels. He felt life slipping away without quenching his thirst. One day, he returned to the village where years before an old woman had welcomed him. He remembered her well. She had offered him a warm bowl of rice and simple words. "I see God every day, in smiles, in bread, in the sun," she had said. At that time he had not understood. Now, tired and empty, he sat once again in front of her house. The woman was older, but her eyes still shone. She gave him a piece of bread and said, "Son, you continue to search far away for what has always been here." The monk observed children playing, farmers laughing as they carried water, the evening songs of women preparing food. He looked at the sky turning red, heard the bells of a cow in the pasture, felt the wind caressing the leaves, and suddenly he understood. Everything had always been full of God. Every act of care, every laugh, every glance. God was not hidden in deserts or caves. God was life itself. God was the breath flowing through him. God was the gratitude arising in his heart. He closed his eyes and wept, not in frustration, but in joy. All his years of searching had been a journey necessary to understand the simplest truth. God is not found by chasing extraordinary visions, but by recognizing the sacredness in the ordinary. The shared bowl of rice, the helping hand, the blowing wind, the love that unites. From that day on, the monk continued to walk, but no longer searched. He walked with gratitude. Every face was a reflection, every flower a greeting, every breath a prayer. He had found God, finally, exactly where he had never expected, in the simplicity of life, in the human heart, in the wonder of the present. Just like the monk, we too can recognize that God is not far away, but present in every breath, every gesture, every moment of life. In today's busy world, spirituality appears in simple things. A smile shared, a moment of silence, an act of kindness. Some find connection through modern practices like mindfulness meditation, yoga, or peaceful walks in nature. Others rediscover sacredness through online communities where experiences and reflections are shared. All these moments, lived with awareness, can bring us closer to the divine. If this story has brought you peace or reflection, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Every week we share new stories and reflections to nourish your soul and accompany you on your personal journey. Don't miss the next videos. Join us on this journey of discovery and awareness.